Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another episode. If you're looking to book a tour, or if you're already touring and you want to make your tours more either logistically sound or financially sustainable, stick around because this one's going to be for you. So let's jump right in. One thing I do want to say first is that this video is going to be specifically for DIY touring rock bands, and that can include punk, metal, hardcore, indie, pretty much anything in the rock spectrum, because there is a thriving house and DIY sort of scene in the US for those types of band. If you are in fact in a jazz band or fusion or pop or something that might be more tailored towards a sort of bar crowd or something a little bit more low-key, Dani from the band Marbin has a great video which I'm going to link up here. So one of the first things that you're going to want to do is make sure that your online presence is good and clean and crisp and your branding is consistent across all your platforms. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. You can take a look at our screen. It's everything is kind of branded around the last record that we put out, all these pinks and blues. The photo style is relatively consistent, and you can see that we have all the tour dates posted up at the top up here, and also press for our album release, as well as a link to our website. Going over to Twitter, we have the same thing. Our website is posted at the top, and also we have our album release pinned to the top with all the info about it up there, as well as everything is branded consistently with our album release. Same thing with our Facebook. Everything is branded consistently, including our album artwork, our promo photo, and info about our record. We have a pinned video, which is sort of like a welcome to our page, and then we have a pinned post about our album release, which we just did. Other platforms, you're going to want to make sure you're active on our Bandcamp and possibly even SoundCloud too, depending on the type of music that you are. So we have our album release up at the top here, and then we have our supporters down below, and everything you kind of need to either stream or listen to the record or download it, or order merch or physical copies is all on the Bandcamp. And I'm making sure that it all looks good on my phone, because most of the time you are going to be doing most of the booking work from your phone while you're on the road. And not to mention, most people are looking at this stuff on the phones anyway, so it has to look good on mobile. The next thing you're going to want to figure out is, what is everyone's work situation? How does that fit into, the amount of time that they can spend on the road? Ideally, for your first few tours, you're not going to want to spend that much time out, just so you can get your bearings. Where is everyone at money-wise? Because frankly, for your first few DIY tours, you shouldn't expect to make any money anyway. So you're going to want to be financially capable of making it through the tour on the money that you already have. When you've figured out how much time you can afford to spend on the road, you're going to want to plan out a route around that. So if you have a weekender, you're going to want to plan out 2 or 3 days, probably in your own area. Maybe one show is in your own state and one show is out of state. If it's a week long, maybe you're going to want to just do a regional sort of loop. And if it's a longer thing, maybe 2 to 4 weeks, you're going to want to branch outward regionally from there. Now, where you're going to want to try to put 2 and 2 together is figuring out how big is your presence online, and based on that, where are you going to be able to draw, if anywhere. Say you just happen to have a big following in Chicago. That may mean that you can draw more people there, so that might be one of the sort of anchor dates that you should route your tour around. In other words, if you think that you might be able to get a guarantee or a better guarantee in that location, that might be one of the dates that you can kind of count on to help with finances. When you're mapping out your first few tours, you're going to want to make sure that your drives are not that long. Not only will this help with gas and money, but it'll keep you healthy because you won't have to drive as much. It'll give you a feel for what a longer tour might be like without actually having the stresses and strains of being on the road so much. And having longer drives will just put a toll on your playability as a musician and how good you feel when you're actually playing your set. The better you feel, the better you'll play. Now, when you have a projected route on the map, and you take a look at the dates that you think might make sense. And when you have an idea of what these cities are, you're gonna want to do either one of two things. You're either gonna want to try to get on a show on that date in that area that is already happening, or you're gonna want to reach out to someone in the DIY community in that area to try and set up a show for your band. And the way you're gonna do the second one is basically you're gonna find bands in that area that you think are a similar sound to your band and reach out to them and see if they can get you in touch either with someone who books shows in that area or see if they know any shows that are already going on. And you're gonna wanna look for these DIY groups, which you're gonna wanna join and become a part of the community of. For example, this one, DIY tour postings. Everyone can post in it looking for shows. Post should look like this: hi, I'm Name, I'm looking for dates for my band, tentative dates, check out our music here, etc., etc. And then maybe someone can help you out, and then maybe in the future you can help them out. But it's a community that you can get in touch with. And the idea is that if you become a part of this community, if they're able to help you out in some way, hopefully down the road, you're able to help someone else out. Oftentimes in these groups, there will be lists of bands in each area or by state, which you can sort of pick through the notes section or even the comments section. Sometimes you'll be able to find out which bands are located in which areas. If you're not able to find a band in the area that you're looking to book in, sometimes a simple search in the Facebook search bar will turn up bands in the area, and then reach out to them directly to see if they can help you out. After searching and searching, when you finally found a promoter or a band in the areas that you think might work for you, often they're gonna set up a show. There is probably gonna be a Facebook event page that goes up. You're gonna wanna keep in touch with these people to make sure that local slots are being filled, that the show is being promoted in whatever way that means. Don't necessarily expect for them to do all the work. Don't necessarily expect for every show to be great. Often in DIY, it's sort of a crapshoot whether anyone will show up. Sometimes there's, maybe you're in Denton, Texas, and there's 20 shows going on in one night. So, it's just sort of the luck of the draw. That's just how it is. Something you're gonna definitely want to make sure of is, if possible, to get paid at least enough to cover gas. Sometimes this is like just $50 guaranteed. In DIY, a good promoter will at least attempt to pay out the touring bands, but in general, don't expect to get paid. That's just kind of what DIY is. You never really know what exactly is gonna happen. One thing that you do wanna make sure of is specifically asking that your touring band plays in the middle of local bands. This is called the local sandwich, and the reason that we do this is because often enough, some people will show up late and some people will leave after the biggest local band plays. So think about it, you don't want people to leave before you've even played as the band from out of state, and you don't want people to miss your set because they got there too late. And also, I do find that this tends to make it easier logistically for the touring band in terms of loading in and out gear. If you were playing last, say, and you needed to load out all your gear at the end of the night, but you also needed to watch your merch table, but you also need to talk to people so that you can grow your network. It's just a million different things to think about, and this makes it a lot easier. Aside from that, you're gonna wanna make sure you have a working source of transportation, whatever suits your means, and you're gonna wanna make sure that you keep in touch with every promoter or contact or whoever it is you need to go through to make sure that these shows are happening, that everything is getting done on time, and everything's being promoted as it should in whatever capacity that means. You're definitely going to want to make sure beforehand that, to the best of your ability, you have lodging sorted out for every night of tour. Maybe this means that you're able to reach out to locals and find a place to stay with someone else who's playing the show. Maybe you're able to stay with the promoter. Maybe if you have the means, you're able to stay in a hotel or something. And then, quite honestly, more often than not, on your first few tours, you're going to be sleeping in the van. So that means, sleeping at a truck stop, sleeping at a Walmart. This is kind of, it's kind of like a rite of passage in DIY that you might have to kind of rough it the first few times, if not, for a long time. And right before you leave for tour, you're gonna wanna put together a tour itinerary. Now what this is a booklet, basically, can be paper or digital, and it contains all the info you need to know for every show. So here you can see I have an example of a tour sheet from a past tour that we did. This is just one I just wrote up right now, but the format stays the same. And what we'll usually do is have an actual physical printout of each show, of each date, that we'll hole punch and put together in a binder, which we keep in the van, but we also keep the digital version on our phones just in case anything happens to the binder. So you can see here, for example, this is March 12th. We're driving to Murfreesboro, Tennessee to play at Dad's Garage. Here's the address. Here's AJ, the promoter, and his contact number. We set a predetermined guarantee payout of $50 beforehand. It was 3 hours drive from wherever we were the day before. Mover Shaker was playing. We were also staying with AJ, or staying at the house that we're playing at, which was determined beforehand as well. An event page was made, it went up. Pale Lungs was opening the show. We needed to be at the house at 6 for load-in, and the show starts at 7. And the ad mat did get sent out, yes. And in the sense of DIY, that's not really important. It just, was sort of an indicator to make sure that everything was flowing smoothly and all the information went out on time. And then below that, we also have a section for merch to mark off in our binder for what we sold for the night. And then we have a notes section below, just to kind of write any notes that we might want to know. Maybe we wrote down, sound was bad at this venue and we want to make sure that we bring monitors for next time. And I'm going to link below a copy of a blank version of this that you guys can download and use for yourselves. I hope you guys find this helpful and beneficial, and if I missed anything crucial, which I'm sure I did, feel free to leave a comment below, and let's as a community make sure that those important comments get bumped to the top. So that everybody can see them and everybody can learn. If you liked what you heard and you thought it was helpful in some way, feel free to subscribe. And then also, if you can think of someone that you think might benefit from this information, feel free to share this video directly with them. I really do encourage this sort of, organic growth. It's kind of like an integral thing to the DIY community, and is one of the things that has helped DIY survive and thrive for so many years. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions for videos you might want to see or things you might want to learn, feel free to drop a comment below and I will check it out. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye now.